Good morning and welcome to the first Code with Us session in 2024, hosted with Ignite. Today, we will be looking into building your own L1 chain, a Cosmos SDK blockchain, scaffolded with Ignite, and we will add CosmWasm Rust smart contracts to your chain. Should be straightforward exercise. So on the right-hand side, you see our tutorials platform, and I will open up my Visual Studio Code in a empty directory that I've set up for us. I hope you can see that well. If I need to increase my font, Michelle, please just let me know if you can read that well. First of all, I need to check.
I think you could maybe make it a little bit more for the video, but
a bit more increasing like that.
Yeah.
I need to be able to type so.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Let's see if I can. Okay.
Perfect.
Let me first check my version of Ignite that I'm on. This is version 28.3, and this is actually necessary. This version is the absolute minimum version you need to scaffold your blockchain with in order to integrate CosmWasm without any problems. Because we've just integrated it, and therefore earlier version don't work, but later version should all be working quite easily for you. So in order to get this started, let's click on the how to create a CW20 on an Ignite chain blog post, because in this, we will walk you through setting up your blockchain first at CosmWasm, and then upload your first example smart contract. As already shown, the first step is to check that Ignite version 28.3 or later is installed. You need to have Docker installed. I already have Docker installed. Let me check. Docker version. I do have, but it's not running. Need to open Docker because we will make use of it later on.
If I remember, we don't need Docker for that.
Not for Ignite, but we will need Docker for Rust later on.
Okay.
I'll show you. The first thing to do is we want to scaffold a new blockchain. So for this example, I will just call it Ignite scaffold chain code with us, and we add no module at first. This you can have a module. Shouldn't matter. But I don't plan to use a module now, so I'm scaffolding it without module. For every one of you that knows Ignite and has already scaffolded chains, you know this now takes around a minute. And then we have our blockchain, which is very similar to, for example, the Gaia implementation, a Cosmos SDK blockchain. We can see the code getting scaffolded here. For every Ignite veteran, you know, your app wiring sits in the app directory. Usually when you scaffold with a module, you would have an X directory with your module, and all the modules get programmed usually by convention in the X directory. You have your typical config.yaml where you can define your blockchain and genesis state and so much more. So if we first, now we have our blockchain scaffolded, as you can see, successfully created a new blockchain called CW for code with us. Get started with the following commands. First cd CW and then Ignite chain serve. What happens if we use Ignite chain serve? The difference for the Wasm app will be that we might need to run additional command Ignite Wasm config. I will not run it right now to see what happens with the installation. First, now to get Wasm to our blockchain is we need the Ignite app Wasm. We install this by typing Ignite app install -g github.com Ignite app Wasm. Let me copy that over. I think I already have it installed. Let me see. I already have the Ignite app wasn't installed, and therefore this fails as expected. But now let's try to add Wasm to the blockchain. Cannot find the chain config. It says if the chain CW is not initialized yet, run init or ignite chain serve to init the chain. After, run the ignite wasm config command to add the wasm config. So let's ignite chain serve first to see if this works properly. We might need to add ignite wasm config as well. This might take a few minutes until everything is built and the proto files have been compiled. Fingers crossed, everything should work as expected. Well, this is building. Oh no, it's actually now making some progress. All right, this is this worked. This is the expected output of Ignite chain serve. Now I think I need to run Ignite wasm config, just making sure this is configured properly, and this looks fine. The config has been added. Now I can run Ignite chain serve once more. Immediately loads. This all looks good. Now we can have a quick peek into the different files that have been added. So you do have the wasm.go file with capabilities and capabilities declaration, and then wasm modules getting registered. The wiring you can also find in your app.go file. There's too big to show a lot, but very typical initialization and registration of your app in your app.go file, but you also have the wasm.go file where a lot of the wiring takes place. Have a look at these places if you're curious on how this is wired into your app. But right now, we're just using it out of the box as it works good for us. Let's see the CW20 token. In order to get started with this, we are using the CW Plus repository. Let me quickly show this to you. I've already shown a few content of this in our monthly developer community calls. The CW20 Plus is a great repository on GitHub where you can find code that has been audited and very well documented. And in order to write your own smart contracts, it makes a lot of sense to either build on top of those contracts or kind of look at inspiration, how certain problems have been solved, and just dig through the code. It's probably one of the best Rust smart contract code out there. So it makes a lot of sense to study this and use it. So if you're looking for a typical CW20 token, CW721 token, then you probably should be using the contracts from here. So what we'll do is we will clone this and work with those smart contracts. So now I am in the CW Plus repository, and all the smart contracts are actually in here in the contracts directory. You can find, for example, the CW base contract with the source code at your hand. You can study this and look at it, or even fork it, modify it to your needs. Today, we just want to look at deploy this basic contract. And for this, we need Docker. This is run in a Docker container, so the output is always the same. It's in a container, so we make sure it's always compiled in the same way, and can also reduce the binary size a little bit and save a little bit of gas. Doing it this way, there's other ways to compile your smart contract to be uploaded. We'll be using the one recommended by Confio and in the CW Plus repository. This command actually compiles all contracts in the repository. This is partly necessary. We don't obviously need all of them, but CW20 also makes use of some of the other smart contracts in this repository, so we should compile all of them. And then they will be landing in the artifacts directory in the CW Plus repository. We're compiling a lot today, so quite some waiting time, but it's worth it. I think I will make quickly a new file in here just for me to show you the commands before we're using them, so we have them a little bit bigger, because we need to edit some of the commands. I just have an empty file, because the next command we'll be looking into is oh no, I've lost this entirely. Can I go back? Yes, okay. The next command we'll be looking is we want to upload the CW20 base contract. So what we'll need to do is we need our app, which is for me the CW binary tx wasm store. Artifacts is going to be the directory. CW20 base.wasm is the file that we want to upload to the chain. So we store it on chain, this contract, and we'll upload it from Alice, because as you probably know, Alice and Bob are our default users. We need our chain ID, which is CWU, and we probably want to look at the transaction before we confirm it. So this is the command we're going to be running to first store it on the blockchain. Until this is fully compiled, I will just continue creating our next commands that we want to be using. Afterwards, we want to list all available codes on the blockchain. And then the next two steps are going to be instantiating and using the contract. Oops. So third one will be instantiating. Can already make up if we want to use a certain name and symbol. Decimal places is what we can define for our token. I haven't gone into yet what CW20. I'm just assuming most of you know the ERC20, which has been converted into the CosmWasm standard. CW20 is a token contract. So what we're going to be is, with that contract, you can create new tokens on your blockchain on the basis of this smart contract. So we can give it a name, which usually starts with the U letter if it has 6 decimal places. So we're going to follow this as typical Cosmos standard. We will call it today CWU, because code with us is our show here. and therefore use CWU. CWU will be the symbol. We will input the first initial balances. Label will be CWU. Chain ID is also CWU. Don't get confused. We have a lot of code with us abbreviations today. In the meanwhile, I can also see alias addresses. Then I can input it here. The code ID I will be receiving after storing it on the blockchain. So I think this is all for preparation right now. This looks good. Still compiling the contract. This can take a while. Can already continue preparing our commands that we'll be using, since I have the time to walk you through it right now. So after instantiating, we will also be executing a contract. So we'll have the contract address by then. We will transfer tokens to the recipient, which will be Bob in our case. Let me get Bob addresses from my terminal. Amount is always counted in UCWU token, but we'll send to Bob from Alice. Chain ID is CWU, and this should be it. Looks like we're getting close with compiling CW20 here. Yeah, this should be the last one. Any questions from the audience until all my contracts have been compiled?
Do you see the question, Tobias?
I don't see a question, no.
Okay. Sorry, Rahul, you had a question about, I guess, gas size. That's right. It's in the chat.
Let's see. I will try it. Okay, my blockchain is running. And now let's try storing this onto my blockchain. Okay, this is what a compiled contract looks like. There's not too much to check for me right now, but let's say this is all as expected. And yeah, this is exactly what Rahul posted, I suppose. We might need to want to give it a little bit more gas. Let's see what happens. $200,000 might be a bit low for storing a smart contract on chain. But it wants more. Since we're on a local chain, we can do whatever we want and just increase this until it works, and it does at some point. So a smart contract, uploading a smart contract obviously needs a lot of gas. I think this is expected, therefore it usually costs a little bit of tokens if you're not working locally to get it uploaded first, but then using it should be less gas. So we have a TX hash. Let's store it. I'll just store it for future references. We can query this one. CW TX query. No. Other way around. CW20 query tx. Yeah, and here we see the bytecode of the smart contract. Again, too much for this terminal to display. But it's not too important. We want to see our code. Did this actually successfully upload? One second, let me. See the actual transaction. Here we see the actual gas used. This is a lot. This was 2 million, 2.5 million. I was still out of gas. Well, okay, let's try this more. Let's do this again and check our output. Oh no. Let me delete this once. But I've used more gas. But this worked. Now I've uploaded it twice. So it still needed more gas than that. I think we could check the gas needed before if we simulate the transaction. But I should. This is something I can add to the tutorial in order to see. This takes me a couple of minutes. Let's continue here with using the contract. So the first one is with code ID 1. So this is both the same contract actually. We'll be using the first one with code ID 1. So in here we use code ID 1, and as already prepared, now initiate this ERC20 token UCWU with the symbol CWU. Oh, I've already placed -y. -y doesn't ask you anymore. It just puts the transaction through. And then let's have a look at this transaction hash, CWD query transaction. And here we see this failed to execute, address validate. This is weird. I haven't seen this before. This is not a gas issue, Neil. Invalid checksum. This is expecting. Let me see if what is wrong? Maybe the address? I know I'm actually instantiating. Is my address wrong? Let me query Alice. It is actually, this is not the same address. Oh wait. So okay, let me try it with this address. Maybe I had the wrong address placed there. This looks better. No error anymore. This actually needs a lot less gas. And before this goes through with instantiating, it goes through with 150 gas then. So you can see storing smart contracts need a lot of gas or then using them like typical Cosmos SDK transactions. And then let's execute the smart contract. So we should have a contract address now. Let's see how to. So the contract address we can get by querying Wasm list contract by code. Oh, 1 second. Code ID should still be 1. Oh no, what's my terminal doing right now? I'll just type it. Query Wasm list contract by code 1. And then we see the addresses, the contract address is this key. Now we can paste it here. And now we execute as we have prepared before. The recipient is Bob. The amount is 10,000 of CWU. From Alice, chain ID CWU. No error so far. Let's query this 6 as if it went through as well. I have this problem again, failed to execute message. Maybe probably this again, or I got the recipient. I probably got the recipient wrong as well. I don't know what happened when I tried to copy them out of my terminal. So this is Bob's address. Yeah, weird. No. It's just missing. Okay, it was probably shortened, so it's missing 1 or 2 characters. Let's try this again. Yes, this worked. So we've now sent our just created token CW to Bob. And let's see, now we can check balances. We need the contract address and we need the address of the person we want to query. So let's prepare this first. The contract address we have already from here. And Bob's balances we have from here. So what we're doing here is with querying the contract state, we need to give it a query. And this query is formatted in a JSON. It wants to query balance from the address ending with lunk3. Let's check this. Then we can see 10,000. We could send it 10,000 more. Check again, and now it's 20,000. And this actually concludes our tutorial for today. We have created a new blockchain, L1 Cosmos SDK chain. We have added CosmWasm Rust smart contracts to the chain. We have looked into CW plus smart contracts from Confio. We have uploaded the CW20 contract. We have made a transaction. We have created our own token and made a transaction with that from one account to the other. There have been a couple of bumps along the ride, but I think like solving problems in real time is also fun. I hope you had some fun with me, and see you next time. Any questions you can still ask. Otherwise, happy to have every one of you, and have a great day.
Yeah, and also if you guys do the tutorial and have things you can share with us, please share them on Discord and we can help.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. See you next time at Code With Us.
Thank you, boss. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.